Hey guys, today we're going to be talking about the top 5 ranked teams that you can take in your online franchise day one of Madden 25's release. Now, if you're like me, you play in a league from the August launch of Madden to the launch of the next Madden, so it's important to get a good team off the rip. And there's a couple ways that we've categorized this. So I have gone through, looked at all the Madden 25 ratings and taken all players rated 86 and above into account, how many 86 plus players were on each team. Then I looked at the X factors that each team has. But let's go ahead and take a look at this. Starting at number 5, we've got the Miami Dolphins. Now this is a speedster's dream here. You've got obviously burners like Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle. They only have 2 X factors, but they've got 9 players rated 86 and above. You look at guys like Raheem Mostert, Jordan Poyer, Kendall Fuller. You know you've got some veterans on this team. The only downside is their cap after signing Tua and a couple of these other wide receivers like Jalen Waddle. They've got a couple nice pieces, young pieces like Javon Holland. But you're really going to have to take the cap into account when you look at this team. But for those of you looking for a nice speedy team off the rip, I think the Miami Dolphins will be a powerhouse day one. At number 4, we're going to take a look at the Dallas Cowboys here. They've got 8 players rated 86 and above, and all of their 8 are actually 88 and above. And a lot of it's going to be the Great Wall of Dallas. You look at Tyler Smith, Zach Martin. They've got a bunch of other really good offensive linemen. Obviously, Micah Parsons and CeeDee Lamb are your X factors. Dak Prescott rated nicely at 90 overall. He'll be a superstar development. Doesn't get an X factor this year. Trayvon Diggs, Deron Bland. You got good cornerbacks. DeMarcus Lawrence on the other side of Parsons is going to be really nice. And based on what I've seen of the gameplay of Madden 25 so far, Dallas looks to be one of the best passing offenses out of the box. And that's why they're going to make this number 4 spot. Looking at number 3, obviously, we got to go with the back-to-back Super Bowl champs, the Kansas City Chiefs, and it's clear why. 8 players rated 87 or above, 3 X factors being Patty Mahomes, Travis Kelce, and Chris Jones. And then you got good offensive linemen just like Dallas and Creed Humphrey, Joe Tooney, and Trey Smith. You got a good back in Isaiah Pacheco, Trent McDuffie to help shore up that defense. Obviously, they lose L'Jarius Sneed, but I think after year one, you'll be able to fill a couple of the holes, the few holes that exist on this roster, and you can't go wrong with Patty Mahomes, man. The Mahomie, he's going to help carry any good user to a Super Bowl or 2 in a good competitive league, and I think Kansas City deserves to be at this number 3 spot. Now, a couple of you might be saying, the Chiefs, they should have been number 1. But I'm looking at 2 specific teams that are just head and shoulders above the rest. And at number 2, we're going to be talking about the San Francisco 49ers. And man, this team is just throttled with talent. They've got 11 players ranked 87 overall or above. They've got 5 X factors in Christian McCaffrey, Fred Warner, George Kittle, Nick Bosa, and Deebo Samuel. And these guys are gonna be juiced coming out of the box. Outside of them, you look at Trent Williams, who's always been a rock on that offensive line. He'll retire after a couple years. Brandon Ayuk will most likely be superstar, 91 overall. Charvarius Ward in that secondary, as well as Talanoa Hufanga, the safety. And then Dre Greenlaw in that linebacker. It's this defense, man. If you're a defensive-minded user who can also just be competent on offense, San Francisco's going to elevate your play. And it's clear why. They just have so many players. And you might have thought the 49ers should have been first on this list. But I got an argument for one team in particular that is going to be the best team out of the box for Madden 25, and that's the Baltimore Ravens. You look at, similar to 49ers, 11 players ranked 86 overall or above, 5 X factors. Lamar Jackson, Roquan Smith, Derrick Henry, Mark Andrews, and Kyle Hamilton. Now, you might look at Derrick Henry and Mark Andrews, say those guys are older. They're not going to regress a ton in the first couple years. So this team will be championship caliber from day one, and they will stay there. And if you're a good team builder, this team is going to be absolutely electric. I mean, having a speedy quarterback in any football game at this point is a godsend. And these guys they know how to get it done. Outside of that top 5 players for them, you got Justin Madubuike, Marlon Humphrey, Justin Tucker, Ronnie Stanley, Tyler Linderbaum, and Marcus Williams. Now, some people like to buy into the idea that offensive line doesn't matter. Well, if that's the case, having some guys who are really nice out of the box that you don't have to pay for specifically, you don't have to really go out and try to draft. It's going to open up some opportunities to go build the team out in other ways. And offensively, defensively, I think this team is going to be a powerhouse. I think they're going to be the one to take in any league. If you're up high in your league's team selection draft, you got to go with the Baltimore Ravens. But that's not all. We got some strong teams to consider as well. We've got 5 strong teams, 5 sleepers, and 5 teams to stay away from. And starting with the strong teams, we got the Eagles, Lions, Bills, Texans, and Bengals. These teams have X factors. These teams have young players that you can build around and veterans that will be able to get it done Sunday after Monday after Thursday. And you will not be hurting if you take any of those 5. My sleepers here, and I want to go into a couple explanations here. The Browns, Vikings, Packers, Bucks, and Falcons. Very similar to the strong teams. A lot of youth in their core. But I looked at this Browns team, man. They've got 7 players ranked above 86, 2 X factors in Myles Garrett and Nick Chubb. If you're a good runner, this is going to be a good team for you. You've got strong tight ends, strong wide receivers. You got a good secondary to start. Joel Bitonio, Myles Garrett, Nick Chubb. Yeah, these guys are kind of old. Amari Cooper along with that. But some of these guys are going to stay past year 1, and all you got to do is draft well. Obviously, the biggest hurdle is quarterback with Deshaun Watson. He may not be the easiest guy to sort of push through an entire cycle with, but you will have opportunities to get rid of him if need be and bring in somebody to really turn this Cleveland franchise around. And then the Vikings, obviously you can't go wrong. Justin Jefferson, and you've got young quarterbacks, rookie quarterback JJ McCarthy, but this is a team builder's dream in Minnesota. Same with the Bucks and Falcons. This is a team that has really good youth, and on the Bucks specifically, I think they've got one of the best veteran defenses out of the box. Antoine Winfield, Levante David, Vita Vea, Jamel Dean. It's really no big weak points, and the ones that there are, you can definitely go and fix in FA or the draft. Their 2 X factors being Mike Evans and Levante David. Baker Mayfield will be a fun use for year 1 as well. In the right user's hands, I think Tampa Bay can be a real danger to the rest of the league. Now let's look at our stay away teams. Teams that are on this list for having the highest 86 plus players, but I think there's some fool's gold to be found in a couple of these teams. And we're going to start by looking at the New Orleans Saints. This team on paper, 7 players ranked above 86 overall, 2 X factors in Demario Davis and Marshawn Lattimore. But look at this list, man. Davis, Tyrann Mathieu, Lattimore, Cameron Jordan, Ryan Ramczyk, and Eric McCoy. The only player who you're going to have by the end of the cycle, Chris Olave. I think this team, while rated highly to start, they're going to struggle year 1 because you still are not going to have the easiest time at quarterback. You're still going to have to deal with some of these older players leaving after year 1, year 2. I say stay away from the Saints, man. And then we're going to look at the Steelers. The Steelers were an interesting choice here because they still have their defensive cornerstones, TJ Watt, Cameron Hayward. They're not going to last forever. And then you think, well, you still have Justin Fields. You don't have to worry about Russell Wilson. He's only on a 1-year contract. Justin Fields is 25 years old. I want to stay away from this guy as much as I love Justin Fields in real life. That distance he can go as far as development is not the highest. So you either have to ball out with him specifically in the first couple years, with George Pickens, with Najee Harris, or it's going to be downhill sledding for these Pittsburgh Steelers. Another fool's errand, I think, is the New York Football Jets. Sauce Gardner, Tyron Smith, Keenan Williams, CJ Mosley, and Mike Williams, their top-rated players. Sauce is the only X factor. You got Aaron Rodgers coming off an injury. Obviously, that doesn't matter in Madden, but I think he's not going to stay around forever, obviously. Yeah, you got Breece Hall in the backfield. You can maybe build this team out a little bit, but I just think it's too good to be true. There's a lot of talent on this team. Obviously, you still have Garrett Wilson as well. I think in the right user's hands, they're going to do well, but I still want to stay away from the Jets. My last two teams on the stay away is the Chargers and Commanders. I think the Chargers are very top heavy. Justin Herbert rated 87 overall, probably going to be a superstar here. Outside of him, only one X factor in Derwin James. Then it's Khalil Mack, Rashawn Slater, and Joey Bosa. Some veterans on this defense. I think the strongest part of the cycle for them are going to be in the first 3 seasons, unless you've got a wizard of a team builder using these Chargers. Stay away from them. And then the Commanders. You may be allured by the rookie quarterback, Jaden Daniels, but this is a team that does not have a ton of talent outside of him. Jonathan Allen, Terry McLaurin, Sam Cosmi, and Bobby Wagner are your top 4 players rated 86 or above. Jonathan Allen, your only X factor. McLaurin's going to be superstar. And we're talking about if Sam Cosmi is on your list, we're talking about kickers. Stay away from this team, man. Do not take command of this Washington team. But that's your top 5 rated Madden 25 teams to take from day 1 of your online league cycle. And we are right around the corner from the release. From today, 1 week away from early access. Online franchises will be starting up soon thereafter. Get ready for some football. And we will be taking our team according to this list. Thank you very much for tuning in. We'll see you next time.